You know that feeling when something objectively good happens, like getting a promotion or someone throwing you a surprise party, and you just feel nothing? No excitement, no happiness? Just this flat, empty acknowledgement that something nice occurred, and everyone's celebrating around you while you're sitting there wondering what's wrong with you. Why can't you feel what you're supposed to feel? Here's the thing nobody talks about. You're not broken, but your brain might have crossed a threshold most people don't even know exists. And once you understand what's actually happening inside your head, everything starts making sense. Let's start with what joy actually is, because most people get this wrong. Joy isn't just happiness. Happiness is surface level, fleeting, reactive to circumstances. Joy is deeper. It's that feeling of being alive, that spark that makes experiences feel meaningful. And when it disappears, you don't just lose the ability to feel good, you lose the ability to feel anything matters. Neuroscientists call this anhedonia, the inability to feel pleasure. But that clinical term doesn't capture what it actually feels like. It's like someone turned down the volume on your entire emotional range. Colors look duller, music sounds flatter, food tastes like cardboard, and the worst part? You remember what it felt like to care. You remember when things excited you. But now, it's like watching your life through frosted glass. Here's what's happening in your brain. Your reward system, specifically your dopamine pathways, they've essentially gone numb. Not because you don't produce dopamine anymore, but because your receptors have become desensitized. Think of it like this. If you live next to train tracks, eventually you stop hearing the trains. Your brain adapts, it tunes out the noise. The same thing happens with emotional stimulation. And here's the part that messes people up. This doesn't just happen to people with clinical depression, though that's a major cause. This happens to people who've been through too much stress for too long. Chronic anxiety, burnout, repeated disappointments, betrayal after betrayal. Your brain, in an attempt to protect you from more pain, basically shuts down the entire system. Can't feel hurt if you can't feel anything, right? Studies from the Journal of Neuroscience show that prolonged stress actually shrinks the hippocampus and reduces activity in the prefrontal cortex. Translation? Your brain physically changes its structure to prioritize survival over feeling. You're not choosing to feel nothing. Your nervous system made that choice for you. But there's something even darker happening beneath that. People who don't feel joy anymore often develop what psychologists call learned helplessness. It's this belief that nothing you do matters because nothing's ever worked before. So your brain stops trying. It stops releasing those reward chemicals because why bother? The reward never comes anyway. And let's talk about something society really doesn't understand. People who can't feel joy often look completely fine. They go to work, they smile when they're supposed to, they function, because they've learned that expressing how empty they feel just makes people uncomfortable. So they perform normalcy while feeling absolutely nothing inside. Research shows that emotional numbness is actually a trauma response. When you've experienced too much pain, too much disappointment, too much emotional chaos, your brain essentially says enough and flips the circuit breaker. It's not depression in the traditional sense. It's your mind protecting itself the only way it knows how, by shutting down. Here's what makes this so isolating. When you tell people you don't feel joy, they hit you with solutions. Have you tried exercising? Maybe you should travel. You just need to find your passion. And every suggestion feels like proof that they don't get it. You're not sad, you're not unmotivated, you're literally incapable of feeling the thing they're describing. It's like being colorblind and having people tell you to just look harder at the rainbow. But here's where it gets complicated. Some people who lose joy aren't experiencing anhedonia. They're experiencing something called depersonalization. That feeling of being disconnected from yourself, like you're watching your life happen to someone else. You're present, but not really there. And that detachment makes joy impossible because joy requires presence. Studies from the American Psychological Association found that people who experience chronic emotional numbness often have dysregulated nervous systems. They're stuck in freeze mode, not fight, not flight. Freeze. That state where your body has decided the threat is too overwhelming to respond to, so it just shuts everything down. And here's something wild. The absence of joy doesn't always feel bad. Sometimes it feels like relief. Because if you can't feel happiness, you also can't feel devastating sadness. You can't feel crushing anxiety. You can't feel overwhelming fear. For people who've lived in emotional chaos for years, numbness feels like finally exhaling. It's not good, but it's not the constant pain they're used to. But there's a cost to that numbness. You start losing yourself. The things that used to define you, your hobbies, your passions, your dreams, they all fade into background noise. You become a ghost in your own life, going through motions, checking boxes, existing but not living. Here's what research on neuroplasticity tells us, though. Your brain can recover. Those dopamine pathways can heal. But it requires something most people aren't willing to do. You have to feel the pain you've been avoiding. You have to process the trauma you've been numbing. Because that numbness isn't protecting you anymore. It's trapping you. People who start feeling joy again don't do it by forcing positivity. They do it by finally allowing themselves to grieve what they lost, to rage at what hurt them, to cry over what broke them. You can't selectively numb emotions. When you shut down pain, you shut down everything. And let's be honest about something else. Sometimes the absence of joy is your body telling you that your life genuinely needs to change, that the relationship you're in is killing you, that the job you have is draining your soul, that the environment you're stuck in is toxic. Your numbness isn't a malfunction, it's a message. So if you're someone who hasn't felt real joy in months or years, if you're going through life on autopilot wondering if this is just how it is now, here's what you need to know. You're not permanently broken. Your brain adapted to survive circumstances that required you to feel less. And now that you're aware of it, you have a choice. You can stay in that protective numbness, keep going through motions, keep existing in that muted version of life, or you can do the terrifying work of feeling again, of slowly, carefully, letting your nervous system know it's safe to experience the full range of human emotion, even the painful ones. Because here's the truth. Joy doesn't come back because you chase it. It comes back when you finally stop running from everything else, when you let yourself be fully human again. Messy, painful, complicated, but fully alive. Tell me, how long has it been since you felt genuine joy? Months? Years? Drop it in the comments. And if this video just described your exact experience, please hit subscribe. I would genuinely appreciate your support.